Hello everyone. I welcome you all to this online session conducted by NLE Society's Dr. R.B. Patil Mahesh PU Science College. We have started with this bridge course program for the aspirants of PU1 Science. The main reason to start these sessions is to make you acquainted with the new pattern of learning because there is a lot of difference or gap between class 10 and class 11, that is PU1. In class 10, you have studied science as a whole subject, but here you are going to study them separately as physics, chemistry, biology, stat, computer science, etc. So you're studying each and every subject in depth. So this bridge course program helps to reduce the gap and improve your basic knowledge, which makes the further studies easier. I'm Mrs. Divya Swami, lecturer in biology. So in this video, I'm going to give you some basic information about the subject biology and introduce you to this subject. So let me start, students. First thing, what do you mean by biology? The term biology was first used by two scientists, that is Lamarck and Treviranus, in 1802. Aristotle, you might be knowing, he is the father of biology. The term biology is taken from Greek language where bios means life and logos means study. So biology can be called as the study of life. Okay. Now you may ask me, why is it important to study biology? Students, biology affects human life in many ways. Without the understanding of some biological principles, it would not be possible to take appropriate decisions, right? So I'll tell you some of the important uses of biology in our day-to-day life. One thing is to study the diversity of life. We are staying in a world where there are many different variety of living organisms surrounding us, and the knowledge of these organisms becomes very important for us. Why? To understand the dependence on each and every wildlife. Okay, so each and every organism is interdependent on each other. Then to understand the working of human machine, this is a very interesting part, children. I know each and every human being is curious to know what happens to the food when it goes inside the body. What is the work of oxygen? How does the heart pump? How the waste products are produced in the body? How do we give birth to our offsprings? So these are very interesting topics to be learned, children. And to understand the health and disease, we should know ourselves, we should be knowing about our body mainly to take care of our health, right? So you know the present situation what we are dealing with, what the whole world is dealing with, that is the pandemic COVID-19. So to take care of ourselves, we have to know what that organism is, how does it affects our body, and what are the precautionary measures we have to take to keep ourselves fit and fine. Yes. Now to improve the agricultural techniques, so as the population is increasing, there is need to for improving the quality as well as the quantity of food. So to grow different types of crop breeds, to understand the advances in the applied biology. So there are different branches of biology, children will discuss it further, such as tissue culturing, genetic engineering. So these fields have helped in the development of our national economy as well. Then to understand the importance of natural resources and their sustainable use. Why? Because these resources should not be depleted and it should be available for the future generations also. To understand the local and global issues related to environment, such as greenhouse effect, global warming, ozone depletion, you might be heard of. So all this is necessary to conserve our nature or the wildlife. Yes. So not only this, children. Now you may ask me, why is it important to take biology as one of your core subjects? What are the options you have further? Most of you might be thinking only medical is the only option after taking biology as a core subject in PU. But biology offers you a wide variety of options. In medical field itself, you can opt for MBBS or dental or homeopathy, Ayurvedic medicine. Also, there is BSc nursing, veterinary science also has a wide opportunity nowadays, paramedical, and then you have physiotherapy. One can work as a lab technician. Then there are BSc courses in agriculture, horticulture, home science. Also, there are other applied branches, children, such as biotechnology, genetic engineering. Then pharmacy is also one of the branch where bachelor degree can be done in pharmacy, B Pharm, as well as you can have wide variety of opportunities in the industrial field as well. Okay, so biology offers you so many options apart from going for medical, and also you can opt for the engineering field as well. Yes, so children, biology is actually divided or studied in two parts, that is botany and zoology. Botany is the study of plants and zoology is the study of animals. Okay, but as it is a vast subject, for the convenience of studying, it is divided into many different branches. Based on the criteria, biology is classified mainly into three branches, that is classical branch, interdisciplinary branch, and applied branch. So most of the important branches you will be coming across in your PU1 syllabus. Okay, so let me introduce you to some of these important branches. So these terms, children, you should be knowing them, you should be familiar with. Okay, so some of the classical branches are morphology. It is the study of external appearance of organisms. Anatomy is the study of internal structure of the organisms, that is by taking dissections. Cytology is the study of cells, the structure and function of it. Physiology is the study of life processes, that is the functioning of organisms. Histology is the study of tissues, that is the structure and function of the tissues. Developmental biology is the study of growth and developmental stages of organisms. Biosystematics is the study of classification, identification, and nomenclature of living organisms. Ecology is the study of interaction or interdependence of living organisms with the environment. Genetics is the study of genes, that is the hereditary material and the transmission of this hereditary material from parents to offsprings. Then evolution is the study of gradual changes taking place in the organisms which leads to the origin of new species. And paleontology is the study of extinct organisms, that is the study of fossils. Okay. Then you have some interdisciplinary branches where the other subjects are combined with the study of biology, such as biophysics, that is, it is involving physical aspects in the study of biology, such as the movement of molecules or the radioactive isotopes, the study of them, the uses of them. Then you have biochemistry. So here studying the chemical nature of living organisms, that is the reactions taking place in the life processes. Then the chemical nature of the cell, the tissues, etc. Then biostatistics is applying statistics, that is in solving the biological problems, applying the statistical data or analysis, right? Then you have the applied branches. So these applied branches are nothing but, children, which you can apply in your day-to-day life. That is, these can also be opted as the career options also. So medicine, you have, as you have studied already. Then the agricultural field, which I've told you. Then silviculture is that branch where you study the different types of plants for growing the forests. Yes. Then apiculture is the study of honeybees, rearing of honeybees for the purpose of wax and honey. Poultry is rearing and management of different types of birds for egg and meat. Entomology is the study of insects. Pathology is the study of different disease causing organisms. Horticulture, and then you have floriculture where you learn growing of different types of flowers or crop varieties such for vegetables. This is also for the commercial purpose. Then fisheries is rearing and management of different aquatic animals. Microbiology is the study of microorganisms to know the uses and the harmful effects of these microorganisms to the humankind. Then you have bionics. This is also one of the interesting branches, children, where biology is applied in the engineering field, such as you'll be studying the bioinformatics or the biotechnological engineering. So these are again many different branches of biology which gives you career options. Okay. Now, to know about the ancient biologists, because when you're studying a subject, you should know the history of it. There are different ancient biologists who have given great contributions to the study of biology. Yes, so I'll name some of them. Hippocrates is one. He is known as the father of modern medicine. Even today, the oath taken by the MBBS students, it is called as the Hippocratic Oath. Aristotle is known as the father of biology, as I told you. He is also called as the father of zoology. Today, we are able to classify organisms into plants and animals. It is mainly because of Aristotle. Then Theophrastus, he is the student of Aristotle, also known as the father of botany, because of his immense contribution in classifying the plants. Then you might have heard of Robert Hooke. He was the one who coined the term cell. Antony von Leeuwenhoek, he is called as the father of microbiology because he was the first to observe microscopic life forms. Then we have Carolus Linnaeus. He is a Swedish naturalist, also known as the father of taxonomy because of the system of classification what he gave. Okay. Everyone might be heard of Charles Darwin, who is known for his theory of evolution. Yes, also he is known for his famous work that is Origin of Species. Then we have Gregor Johann Mendel, called as the father of genetics. Today we know that we are inheriting the characters of our parents. It is because of the experiments done by Mendel. So genetics is a wide branch, children. Already have studied in 10th. Yes, so the same thing you are going to study in your PU2 as well. Okay, so now not to forget our Indian ancient biologists. So they have also contributed a lot to the Indian medicine, that is Ayurveda. The first among them is Charaka. He is one of the principal contributors to Ayurveda and he is known for his famous work Charaka Samhita. He is also called as the father of medicine in India. Then we have Sushruta. He is the ancient Indian surgeon known for his pioneering operations and techniques. Okay, and he is also known for his famous work Sushruta Samhita. It is the main source of knowledge about surgery in ancient India. Okay, children. Now, let me introduce you to the PU1 syllabus. A brief introduction I'm going to give you. In PU1, we have 22 chapters which are studied under 5 units. So, Unit 1, you have diversity in the living world. Unit 2 is structural organization in plants and animals. Unit 3 is cell structure and function. Unit 4 is plant physiology and Unit 5 is human physiology. So if you see these different units, diversity in the living world, you have studied in your ninth, yes, about the living organisms, the classification of organisms, the same thing you're going to study here. Structural organization, this deals with two branches of biology, that is morphology and anatomy mainly. Okay, then cell, that is cytology. Then physiology, the study of life processes. So in 10th you have studied life processes. So you have come across all the different life processes you have studied in 10th, children. So in detail you are going to study each of these life processes, which is a very interesting topic to be learned. Okay, so all these different concepts you have already studied in your previous classes, children. So the study becomes easier for you further, right? So next I'm going to just introduce you with this first topic. Okay, some basic things what you have already studied. Yes, okay. Now you know that our planet consists of many different variety of life forms. So that is why the earth can be considered to be the living world. Yes, so all these life forms are known by the general term living organisms. So we can say that this study is called as biology. So it is often classified as natural science. What are the unique features of living organisms? That is, how do you come to know that an organism is living or not? So one thing is the organisms show growth. So how do you define growth? It is defined as the increase in mass and size. So plants generally show unlimited growth, that is they grow continuously throughout their lifespan, but animals show a limited growth. Yes. Then another important characteristic is cellular organization. What is this? Each and every organism has the smallest unit, which is called as the cell. Yes, so we can say that every organism is made up of this small unit which forms the structural unit of life. Okay, so it is the structural unit of life, also defined as the structural and functional unit of life, is nothing but the cell. Then organization. What is this, children? Each and every organism, living organism, shows a definite body organization. So as I told you, every organism is made up of cell. These cells are grouped together to form tissue. The tissues form organ. Many organs combined together form an organ system. So all these together makes an organism. Okay, so every organism shows this body organization. Then reproduction. This is another important phenomenon. So reproduction is producing their own kind. Yes, so every organism reproduces. It has the ability to produce its own kind. Okay, so reproduction is of two types, that is asexual and sexual reproduction. So in detail you'll be studying further. Then every organism is composed of chemicals, right? So as I told you, organisms are made up of cells. Yes, so what is present inside the cell? The living substance that makes up the cell is called as the protoplasm. Remember, cytoplasm is different from protoplasm, children. Protoplasm is nothing but all the living content present inside the cell, that is the nucleus and cytoplasm together. Okay, so protoplasm, so it is called as the physical basis of life, right? Then what is this? Energy. So where do you get this energy from? It is because of the reactions taking place in the body. So the sum total of all these reactions in the body is called as metabolism. So each and every organism has to show these chemical reactions. What is happening here? A person touches a hot object. Suddenly he responds by taking away his hand. What is this feature called as? It is nothing but the ability to respond to the stimulus. Yes, this is one of the important defining characters of living organisms, that is response to stimulus. Then within a nucleus, what do you find? You have the structures called as chromosomes. What are these, children? It is these chromosomes which are passed from one organism to the other, that is to their offsprings. So what is present in these chromosomes? They consist of the genetic material. So we can say that organisms exhibit heredity. What is heredity? It is transmission of characteristics from parents to offsprings. Now, each and every organism shows this important property, that is lifespan and death. Okay, so every organism passes through this lifespan of life cycle of birth, growth, perpetuation, that is development, and finally death. So this is one of the important characteristics, children. So these are the characteristics shown by all living organisms. Now we have come to know the characteristics of living organisms. So there are a wide variety of living organisms which in previous classes you have studied, and these variety of life forms are called as biodiversity. So we can say that biodiversity is the collection of variety of all life forms. Now if you want to study this biodiversity, that is these different life forms, how to study them easily? That becomes a big question. So we can study them by grouping them according to our convenience, and this grouping is called as classification. Okay, now we can classify them in a systematic manner. So in classifying the organisms, that is in biological classification, there are certain fundamental rules to be followed. That is, one is, first we have to identify the organisms to assign them to a specific group. Then we are naming the organisms called as nomenclature, that is scientific name is given. Then classification has to be done. What is this? It is an orderly arrangement of the organisms under specific groups. On what basis? Based on their similarities and differences. So this is nothing but taxonomy. So we can say that taxonomy is a branch of biology that deals with identification, nomenclature, and classification of organisms. Okay. Now, how is the nomenclature done, children? Why are the names important to us? You may be having different friends among you, like Batliwala, Bhimanna, Vimlesh. So why are these important? Mainly to recognize them. Yes, so in the same way, naming is very important for all the living organisms. So how is this nomenclature done? Mainly it is done by two methods. One is giving them vernacular name, the other one is giving them scientific name. The advantages of giving vernacular names is they are short and familiar and they are easy to follow. But the disadvantage is that they are not universal. They are different and confusing. For example, starfish, jellyfish, silverfish. We call them fishes, yes, but are they really fishes? No, not at all. So, scientific naming is given children, that is based on certain criteria and principles, and this is accepted all over the world. For example, lion is known by the name Panthera leo. Then mango is given the name Mangifera indica. So this method is called as binomial nomenclature. So it is a system of nomenclature introduced by Carolus Linnaeus, where the naming is given by two Latin names. Example, you have sunflower is named as Helianthus anus, where Helianthus is the generic name and anus is the species name. So as two names are given, it is termed as binomial nomenclature. Okay. Now you can see here the people are arranged in a systematic manner, that is in a descending order. So such type of arrangement is said to be as hierarchy. So after naming the organism, another important thing is arranging the organisms in a systematic way. So this systematic arrangement or classifying the organisms is called as taxonomic hierarchy. Since it was proposed by Linnaeus, it is also called as Linnaean hierarchy. Okay, so in the taxonomic hierarchy, that is in the classification given here, each category or level used is called as a taxon. I'll explain it to you clearly. So the Linnaean hierarchy shows species at the lowest level. So it is the fundamental unit of classification or the taxonomic category. So how do you define species? A group of closely related organisms which are capable of interacting, interbreeding and producing fertile offsprings. Okay. Then for example, here you have all human beings belong to species called as the sapiens. In the same way, all banyan trees belong to one species, that is Bengalensis. Then you have a group of 2 or 3 closely related species which is called as the genus. A group of closely related genus. Genus is the singular word, so better say genera. A group of closely related genera is called as a family. A group of several related families is said to be an order. A group of several related orders is called as a class. Then after the class, you have closely related organisms classified as phylum. In plants, it is called as division. Then finally, we have the kingdom, which includes all the different phyla or divisions. Okay, so kingdom is said to be the highest taxonomic category. So each and every living organism is classified in this order of classification called as the taxonomic hierarchy. Yes, so all animals, all phyla, for animals, all phyla are placed under one kingdom, that is kingdom Animalia. Then for plants, you have all divisions are placed under one kingdom, that is kingdom Plantae. So let me give you the taxonomic hierarchy of man. Man belongs to kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Primata. Then you have family Hominidae, genus Homo and species Sapiens. So the scientific name is Homo sapiens. Okay, hope the information was helpful. So in the next video, we are going to discuss the biological classification of organisms. Okay, so thank you children.